Yo, 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 and we are live. Let's go. Welcome to the one. Welcome to the live stream. We were streaming on Kick, but I thought it'd be best to move over to YouTube. We can actually keep the recording afterwards, so I can go through, edit it if I need to. And yeah, so let's go ahead and jump into this. Basically at the moment we are working on the zombie AI. So if I go ahead and run through a quick little play, just so then you can see where we're up to. So we'll probably get some errors in a sec, but right now we can shoot, and it does kill the zombies. Well, I say zombies, the kind of capsules here. Also does like a nice little knockback effect on them. Or actually that needs adjusting. And then if we actually, so we've got a health bar down here as well, so if we walk into them, it'll just damage us a little bit. That's just done with a little volume thing. I'll just show you here. It won't let me. But okay, but yeah, bullet bounce as well. That's all adjustable. And we'll actually be going in and looking at making some different weapons at some point. At the moment, this is just for kind of testing, just to see if it's actually worth doing. Um, and I'm kind of liking this. So I don't know if you do like mobile gaming a lot, but there's a game called SS Snaker, which has kind of inspired me to do this. Just because visually it's just really pleasing to see when you're shooting around like this. And yeah, we'll just see where we go with it. I wanna kind of take some inspiration from like Cult of the Lamb, where you kind of got like a little settlement to look after, and a couple few things like that. So let's jump into the code and let me just switch and then you can actually see this a bit more detailed. So right now we don't have a lot going on here yet. But I'll explain what we're gonna do. Basically, we want the zombies to, and actually just give me a second because I'm going to add this in. Uh, Just gonna add in the Unity screens and we can actually still see it. Okay. And there we are. So now you can actually see Unity down there as well when I do pop into there. But so basically we want the player to be, no, sorry, we want so the zombie's gonna spawn on a position and we want the zombie to kind of hang around that area. So we're gonna keep it within range of the spawn position. We're gonna find a random location, we're gonna walk to it, and then we're gonna stay there for a little bit, just wait, and then we'll find somewhere else to walk to. So we're just gonna kind of hover around a little bit, and then once it sees the player or the player comes in range or something like aggroes it or something, it's then gonna go towards the player, but it's not gonna attack the player straight away. Now we've got another script here which is keeping track of the enemies in scene, and we're going to keep on track on the amount of enemies that are actually attacking the player because we don't want to overwhelm them, but we also want to make it difficult and we want to be able to adjust how difficult it is over time. So we're going to make them kind of hang around the player and then kind of attack one after the other instead of everybody attacking straight away and all of a sudden your health goes from 100 to 0. So we just want to try and kind of implement a way that is just going to kind of make that process a little bit smoother, especially for the player. I'm planning possibly to make this mobile game, console game, so we got to kind of look at it from both sides. So right now, what we've got to set up is finding a location, and then in the idle, and actually we can just move this up here. So we're going to find a location within range. So our target position is going to be set to a random position from our center, which will be our spawn position. We're gonna add the enemy into the list, so then we can kind of go over that and set them to attack if they're within range. We've also got a timer, just and then they wait before they actually start moving, and then we set the position, and then once we get close enough, we reset and then wait. So let's go ahead and test this out. We can get this all set up now. And I'm just gonna go and throw this in. So we'll do a private void. Uh, let's just throw this in an update. I don't want a fixed update at the moment. Well, actually no, yeah. Let's go. No, because the movement's gonna be handled by the nav mesh agent built into Unity, which is quite nice. Right, and there we are. So the max idle time. Oh yeah, we actually want to set that here. So let's go ahead and do max idle time because we want this to kind of be random. We don't want this to be a fixed range. Just then there's a lot more variety between them. So we'll probably go between waiting for half second to let's say 90, like a second and a half. Actually, no, let's go 2 seconds maximum. We do 221. So we're gonna yeah, it'll reset that to a random number, and then so that'll be the time that we actually wait for them to move again. So let's go ahead and test this out. Let me just apply that to all. So idle range. So this will be the range in which they actually move from their spawn position. And we also need to make a nav mesh agent onto their humanoid. We also need to add that on here. So I think that is in AI navigation. Yep. So add that up here to the inspector. And I need to. Where's the bake? Is this just gonna work straight away? Show nav mesh. Where has the bake gone to? Okay, so this is all in here anyway. We got a speed and such, and I believe, yep. So the position's at the bottom, which make that work a lot smoother. Yeah, that's all applied. Let's go ahead and apply that to there. Now I'm not sure why obsolete. This window will be depreciated. Let's open the window. Yeah, because normally I use the bake. So does that not still work? Um. Hey, let me do a quick little test. This is our AI navigation at the moment. It doesn't seem to. Do I need to make something? Right. Let's see if there's something in here for AI. Ah, nav mesh surface. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at that. Right. So that's an actual component. Let's delete that and add that onto here. Nav mesh surface. Generate links. Bake that on. Right, okay, so that is within range, so that's actually going to stop everything. But I'm not sure why that is above the ground, if that makes like the ground layers down here. I'm also wondering is that. So yeah, that is the top of it. Okay. Uh, Physics gliders. Let's try that. Object collection, advanced, region area, build higher mesh. Um. Yeah, we'll go back to the random messages on that. Looks like it's lowered it. Let's just press play and see what happens. Oh, right, yep. So you gotta pair the nav mesh. Apply that. We'll also make the auto range maybe like 5. See what that does. Okay, so they do start moving. They do start moving, which is very good. Although they are moving up here for some reason. That one seems to be just bouncing all over the place. Are they bouncing on the walls? I'm not entirely sure. That one's just gone off in its own zone. Okay, but they are moving by the looks of it. I'm not sure what their timers are looking like. So let's just make that. We'll keep that private, but we'll make it serializable, so that we can actually see what's going on. And I've just realised. Oh, okay, yeah, no, perfect. So you guys can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, so that's all kind of working. But I need the nav mesh to be lower than this. And I'm not sure why that is. What's 0? So it's actually above normal 0. Navigation areas, agents, higher jump distance. Okay, so that's still goes to ground. Regenerate links, no, include layers. We just clear that. So I think it's because it's keeping in line with all of these enemies. So let's try move them down and see what happens. That actually looks like there is something there. I don't know if you can just about see that. Which is the aim plane. Right, okay. And this has a box glider, but this shouldn't be affected by it. So I think if we go into ground, food layers. Ah, there we go. So we want aim cast to come off, we want projectiles to come off, we want enemy to come off because we want them. No, we don't want them to walk into each other. Um, don't want UI. Player. No, because we want them to walk into the player. And I guess they'll probably just kind of push the player out of the way. They need to. So if we go ahead and do that and then hit bake, right there we go. Much better. Okay, so we got to go around the walls, around themselves, not around the player. So if we go ahead and switch over just so then you guys can actually see this properly. Get a bit bigger for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and press play and then see what they do. Oh, and there we are. So they are all moving around. Made. Okay, so we haven't made these timers. Ah, so what we actually need to do as well, we need to check that this position is going to be okay for the nav mesh. So we do vector 3, um, possible position. We'll add a little step in here. So if, 'cause I'm sure uh, there should be a way. Calculate a path to a specified point and store the resulting path. Oh, next position reset. Sample path position, no. Set path, update position, acceleration. There should be a way to test position. Is on nav mesh. The destination. Okay, so what we're gonna do is think we need to add an extra step here that just says if the nav mesh is null, if this nav mesh dot path equals null. Dot path, is there another one? Dot status, what's in that? Path invalid, there we go. So if the path is invalid, so we can't actually get to there, then we will set the position again and then do this. Okay, and then we'll just add in it else there. So that one to test this if the path is invalid. And then we'll just get a new position. And then this will run and it will set the destination as a position. Okay. So hopefully this should now work. So let's just put that back to how it was. Then we'll actually do the logic up here instead. And I think I might even turn this uh into a state machine shortly. Okay, so let's go ahead and try that. That should be working a bit better. We should actually see them all moving. We should see timers reset. It seems. Okay, so their timers aren't being reset for some reason. So let's actually change that. And I think we can just do this. So this anime path. Path representation. Path status, path pending. There's a path in the process of being computed, we're not ready yet. Path status equals. Ah, there we go. So if path complete equals that, we can also change that up here to 1. Okay, so if the path is complete, then we're going to reset. Let's see what that does. We just start that again. We should see them reset. Oh, and we've also just seen that these aren't moving with the enemies. So let's go ahead and stop that from passing around the enemies, and then we'll bake that again, because then we'll just make this a complete nav mesh, and just stop them from going into the walls instead. Okay, so they walk somewhere. And they just wait. I've also noticed that this one just walked all the way around the wall. So at some point we're going to need to try and stop that from happening. So we are still okay. So let's try and print. Actually, yeah. We'll do a string for the path status. So if we do path status as a public string, and then we'll just do path status equals this ma path status dot to string. Just and then we can actually see what it's doing. So path complete, but it's not been reset. And let me actually switch over while we're staying in Visual Studio for a sec. Okay, so we've got that passing to a string. If path status equals invalid, reset path. Else, if path status equals path complete. Let's actually make this into a switch, I think. And I think that will probably give us a better output. I just think that at the moment, uh, I think it's actually an issue with this. So I think this line here is looping. Possibly. I think it's removing its destination and then setting it again as a target position. But we'll continue with this and we'll see what happens. So if path complete, we'll do a break in there, and we'll do path invalids. So if the path is invalid, we're gonna set the target position again. If the path is complete, then we're gonna reset. Get rid of that there. Right, let's go ahead and have a look, see how that's changed. So we'll just go ahead and reset it. So see that it is actually going up, but it's just not being reset. So I think the issue is this line of code here. So let me do null. We can. Okay, so if destination equals null, we can actually pop that in here, I think, instead. So if destination equals null, then we'll set it as target destination, target position. Comes down, it's invalid, then just reset. Because we don't want to do anything else if the destination is active, because then we just want to carry this out. Yes, yeah, I think that makes sense. Okay, go ahead and try that, and we can see that the timer is indeed going up and being reset. So what's going on here? Okay, so path complete. Maybe if we do this down here instead, so we'll have that switch be active first. And we can actually, in path complete, we can do a return instead, because then we don't want anything else to happen. But the path invalid, we do actually want to carry on, because then we're gonna set a position, then it'll set the destination. But here we want it to return because we want it to go back up to the top and then do the timer. Yes, that makes sense. But we also, it's a timer plus equals 1 times time dot delta time. We can also turn that into a float so that actually works properly. Let's go ahead and reset that. Okay, so the timer is activating straight away. Let's just make that 104. So let's actually, because, okay, so the problem is path complete. So we're stuck in a path complete loop because the destination isn't being set. So do we set the destination up here or do we wait? I guess we can throw this back in up here. So if it equals null, then we're going to set it to target position. And let's see what happens with this then. Okay, so it's just the timer's just in a loop right now, so it's not even moving. Okay, so it's to do with setting a destination basically. This is the issue. So path complete, path invalid. So if we do if path not path status this ma dot path equals null that doesn't have a path to go to, then we're gonna set the destination as the target position. I think that'll actually be better. Yeah, so we set it to the target position. If the path's invalid, then it's gonna set to a new one. But then it's not gonna update the path. So the path equals null or the destination equals null. I think we'll do it like that. So let's get my or symbol from Google because I don't have it on my keyboard, which is frustrating. Doing that, and yeah, if the path is null or this ma dot destination equals null. Actually, I'll tell you what, we get rid of that, and we can actually just do this again in here. So if the path equals null, destination is set, which it should work like that. And then we're going to check the path status. If the path is complete, we're going to reset this whole timer, and then we'll start again, find a new location to go to. If the path is invalid, then we're going to find a new location and set that as a destination. Okay, that looks like it's actually going to work. So let's see what happens. Well, they haven't moved yet, but the timer is going first. Ooh, just change that. Looks like it's not being... It doesn't look like it's actually being set. So let's change this to between 2 and 10, just for our sanity. Go ahead and reset so that updates. So once we get to 5, this one should move. And it did not. So it's definitely something to do with this destination being set. So the path is... So I'm not sure what this is doing here, because I would imagine that this would only be reset if the path is complete. But I don't think it has a path, if that makes sense. So maybe we need to force the path before this happens. So if the path equals null, we will, instead of setting a destination, we'll create a path for it. So we'll also do else. So we'll only do this if it actually has a path. So we do path, which should be in right nav mesh path. Path equals new nav mesh path. Actually, we'll make that a new nav mesh path. The path dot create. No, this ma path dot. Sure, there was an option somewhere to create a path. Just go ahead and have a look at this. Reset path, resume the path, start a new path station. So we'll set the path there. Mesh. Oh, oh, there's not really anything in there. Um, Set path. Right, yeah, we'll just do set this. Right, this is what I've been looking for. Target position. So I think this will actually work a little bit better. Okay, and then if a path. So if a path is null, we're going to set a destination. And then down here we can do this anime dot path equals null if the path is invalid. Okay. And then hopefully this, so this should then work. So let's just break that out of there, add it in. So if we don't have a path, it's gonna set a destination, which then should in itself make a path. So let's just go ahead and reset this. Let's see what they do. Of course, that's on 9. See if any of them start moving. So we know everything is set up correctly because they are actually moving when they have a destination. But I think it's an issue with this path status. So if I'll just go ahead and just comment that out. What do they do? Do they move? No. Okay, so we'll change that to destination equals null. We'll set destination and see what happens. This should happen straight away. Now, none of them are moving. What is going on? Right, radius, psychology. Pathfinding, not walkable. Just walkable and jumpable at the moment. I just realised that we changed that. During play. Go back to the ground. It still doesn't quite seem to be working. Okay. But my bitrate is just a little bit too high at the moment, so let's just adjust that. Okay. So we need to go ahead. And we are going to. So see, this is where it gets tricky because I don't understand why this isn't working. Like it generally should be working. There's not a reason why it shouldn't be. So maybe if we, Yeah, because we want the destination to be there. So we're in idle. So if target position equals 0, which it will get reset down here. So this is rambling my mind at the moment. I'm not sure why there's an issue. Even with these 3 lines of code, it should be working. Then I think this is an issue here where it's null. So we want this. Maybe if the path equals null. If it doesn't have a path, set destination, and then it should create a path. But then this is what we had before, so let's try it out. You see, they're still not moving. So right now the path status is showing path complete, even though they haven't had a path. So that's probably why this keeps looping down here. So if so there's an issue with the destination. So I think we may need to have a bool gate. Not path equals. Let's just have a little look on here. Dot something to do with a path. Or can we do next position? Get source sets the simulation position of the navmesh agent. So maybe if it doesn't have another one, path pending. Path in the process of being computed but not yet ready. Remaining distance between the agent's position and the destination on the current path. Okay, so we could do that. So if we do, if that's less than 1, set a new destination, and then that should work. And there we go. We've got some movement. Okay, sweet. So if we go ahead and uncomment the rest of that, because now this, so this should now work then, because the path won't be complete because it will just be set. And that's how I'm imagining this to work. Let's go ahead and see if it does. So they all move away at first, and then we should see them kind of continuing to move around, and then they'll wait, and then they'll move again. Okay, so if we keep an eye on this one, when it gets to 5, that should change from path complete to something else. And it hasn't for some reason. But it is still moving. Okay, and that, yeah, that timer, so that time is moving while it is moving, so maybe remaining distance less than 1 will set the new destination. So maybe we'll add in another one here. So else if this MMA dot destination does not equal target position, then we'll set the position there, and we'll actually get rid of that because we want this to happen when it gets close to its target, and we want to set destination if it's not already target positions. We'll see how that works like that instead. Because then what that'll do is it'll only reset it once it's reached its last destination, I believe. Although they all seem to be doing the same thing again. So I think it's an issue with if this So if the target does not equal the target position, maybe we'll do this. So we'll actually put that underneath. So it will skip this and then try to set destination instead. So it'll do one before the other. Oh, and I can see the timer's just been reset there. It's been reset in there. So it looks like this might actually be fixing it. We'll go ahead and try that again. Now it's coming together. Yeah, man. It's finally working. Finally getting that movement going. Let's see, yeah, man. Right, yeah, so these timers are still going. I don't know why it's on 9, but okay. And then it's not moving again. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that back in. So it's definitely an issue with this line. It's checking the destination. Well, it's setting the destination that seems to be an issue. So we need to try and figure out. So maybe. Do you know what? Like I said before, I think I'm actually going to go ahead and turn this into a state machine. So like we have here with the switch and the idle, seek and attack, I think I'm going to have a new one for movement. So public, we'll call that M state. So we need a get position, move, or actually we'll, how should I name this? How should I form this? I think we'll do locate, move, because I want to try and keep this short. So locate, move to, and reset, I guess. Or no, rest. We'll call that rest. Because it's actually going to rest at the position before it then locates another one. So M state. We'll just call that movement state. If I can spell. There we go. Okay. Right, so now that's in. So let's go ahead and adjust this a little bit. Let's add the switch in up here. Switch, movement state. Case locate. I think this is going to be the only way to actually get this to work properly, because at the moment it doesn't seem to want to work the way that I've coded it. And I think it's because all of the code's being run at once and it's kind of going through each of these at the same time. But I only want this to be done if we're locating. So we locate, then we move to, and then we put the timer in rest. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to put the timer in rest there. And then we'll do else. Movement state equals locate. So once the timer has reached the maximum, it'll then go into locate. We'll also have this happen here as well, so it resets the timer. And actually we'll move that down to the bottom. So it resets the timer and then goes into locate. And move to, we will add this switch in, because then we want to test whether the path is complete or if it's invalid. If it's invalid, then we're just going to change the target position. And I think, yeah, so if I add in an if statement here, so if this anime dot destination does not equal target position, then we're actually just going to go back to the locate state instead. Movement state equals locate. And then once the path is complete, we're going to remove the target position. And then we're going to go into the rest state. Then we'll go rest down here. And then it'll do the timer before we actually move. So in the locate, we're just going to do target position equals find location and range. And then we're going to set the destination like so. And once the destination's been set, we'll then go into move to. So if I add this in, actually we can add. No, we can keep that there because we can change target position and then change back. We'll do movement state equals move to because we've set the position. Okay. So let's just add these in here. So find location in range. Go to location. Wait at location. And then repeat or reset. Actually change that to reset. Just so then we have an idea of what's going on here. Okay, so let's go ahead, pop back into the editor. And I'm gonna switch this to big screen. Let's go ahead and test this out. Hopefully this will work a lot better. So we can see here we've got our movement state and the current state. And we will watch to see what happens. And there we are. By the looks of it, that is actually working a lot better. Okay, sweet. Okay, so yeah, having it in an actual state instead, so we can see exactly what it's doing. So this is resting, and then we should see it. It doesn't seem to be changing though. So it seems to be doing stuff, but this doesn't actually seem to be updating. So if I just go to locate. Okay, so it's going straight into rest, which I think is because of the path being complete. So we actually, yeah, we need to do this again. So if this NOA dot distance, I think it is, remaining distance is less than 1F, then we can do that. Yeah, then we can do that. And then so what we can actually do is just cut this out and we can actually just do that there. I don't think we need that if statement. Like if the path is invalid, it just goes back to locate and then just gets a new position. Like actually, do you know what? I think let's get rid of all of this. I don't think I need any of this. And then we can just do here if this MMA dot path status equals invalid. And we'll just add that there. And this will actually shorten it down quite a lot. There we go. So if we're within 1, yo, my man Brian, walk to the 1, bro. Whoop on the fire, the flames, bro. Yeah. So yeah, like if we're within 1 distance of where we're actually trying to get to, then we'll reset. And we'll go to rest. But if the path is invalid and we can't even get to there, then we'll just go back and locate a new position. I think that's going to be a lot smoother. So let's go ahead and try that out. Just jokes. But yeah, okay, so right, there we go. I think the movement is actually working. And that's idle movement. So we're gonna need to actually make them and then actually go towards the player as well. Which is gonna be a little bit difficult, but we'll see what we can do. But right now, yeah, that's working exactly as I like it. So they're all just kind of roaming around. Except from these two. These two seem to be going across the wall. So I think what we're gonna do I think we'll add a raycast to make sure they're not actually about to go around something. So like say this guy here, I want him to stay here rather than like go this side of the wall or that side of the wall. So we're gonna go back into the code. Let's just switch over. So we're gonna add this into find location in range, and I think I'm gonna add a ball here, for raycast, just in case I don't want it in the future, or for a certain type of enemy, maybe I do want them to kind of move around a bit more freely. So enable ray. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is make a new vector 3 here. And I'm gonna add an if statement in here. So if target position does not equal vector 3.0, we'll go into the move state, and then we'll use that as a reset. So if it can't go to that position, we're gonna return a vector vector dot zero, and then it will just basically loop in this until it can find a position that it can go to. So let's go down here. We'll just call this new pause. We'll call that center position, and we'll get rid of that return for the moment. And then so we're gonna want to do a raycast. So we'll just do a raycast hit. Hit equals physics dot raycast, and we'll do new pause as the origin. Center position, yeah, so that's just where it spawns. Actually, I want the Y to be the same as whatever it is that the enemy's on. So new pause dot Y equals transform dot position dot Y, just to keep the height in line. So we go new pause to transform dot position in the direction. We'll do max distance of, actually no, we'll ignore that. Should be a raycast hit. Ball. Nah, let's just, okay. So this will just do if there is anything. But I guess I want it to be the walls only. So let's add that in up here. References, serialized fill, private, layer mask. Wall, I guess. Wall layer. Do I have one for that? Enemy cast, projectile, wall ground. What are the walls on? Okay, so the walls on default. I guess we could just do default. It would probably be a lot easier. Actually, we'll call it a block. Walk block layer, and we'll call it like a walk cast block or something. I don't know. Yeah, walk cast block. Because I suppose there's nothing else. There's no other layer that we're really gonna want that on. For the walls in a moment at least, just because there's not really any interaction with it. We'll ignore that for the moment. So if we go back into the code, so wall block layer, let's just add in here true because we want the enable ray. So if enable ray, then we'll do all this. Else return new pause, just because we just want that position. And then we'll add on to here the layer mask, which is called the block layer mask, wall block layer, or walk block. Yeah, walk block. Yeah, walk block. Yeah, that is what it's called. Okay, so if there's not something there, we will return new pos. But if there is something in the way, we will return vector 3.0. Because then that will turn this state up here into a loop. And let's actually just separate these. So then there's like a little gap. Looking too messy all next to each other. Right, so let's go ahead and see how that works. Just pop over into Unity. Okay, make sure that's all as it should be. Oh, and we can't even see them. Okay, so let's go. Just the camera. I always forget which one it is. There we go. Walk, cast, block. We do want to see those walls. Okay, now I just want to test, see what this guy does. So we're just going to keep on him for the moment. I see the movement state is actually updating accordingly. It's just moved over there. And by the looks of it, just kind of seeing what they're doing, it does look like it's actually working. Like it's not getting a random position. Although this guy just went round the wall. Where's he going to now? See, so he's gone from there to there, and now he's going back again. And now he's going back over there. So it doesn't look like this raycast is actually working. So if raycast new position, maybe we want to do line cast, because line cast start and end. Yeah, so if we do that instead, and we'll just swap these around there. So start is transformed to position to the new position. So if there's anything in there that is on the wall block layer, it will return vector 0. And actually, let's just make this look a little bit better there as well. Get rid of that. Okay. Actually, we can get rid of that altogether because we can just put these here. So if enable ray and test array and there's something blocking, return 0. Else just return new pos. Because then if enable ray is off, then it's just going to return the pos anyway, or the position even. Just go ahead and actually we'll also do a little line cast. Just so then we can visually see this. So we'll do debug, draw a line, some position to new pos. So then we can actually see which ones. Well, we can see them do their raycast as well as if they actually go there. Actually, we should start seeing lines all over the screen. That doesn't look like it. Right, so let's just color dot magenta, and we'll do 0.1f. Actually, we'll do 1f. 1f, I think that's seconds. 1 second, I guess. Yeah, so we can see them casting a line. I think we actually have to be looking at them. So we can see it is actually casting. Okay, so let's get rid of that, because then we can actually see it a bit better. Even so, actually, we can see the position that they're trying to get to. So it still seems to be casting. That is on layer, yeah. Okay. I'm not sure why that's happening then. So line cast, this should be right. Let's put that to 10. I draw line. In actual fact, this should only be. So if enable ray and it casts something there. Okay, but yeah, let's actually make this separated. If it's there. So if there is something in the way, then we'll actually just do that. We'll just draw the line anyway. So if there is something there, we'll return 0. Otherwise we'll just have that open. So that if it doesn't return there, it will just return at the bottom anyway. So let's go ahead and test that out. Now we should actually see these ray casts, okay. But they're kind of hanging around for a little bit too long. So let's just turn that down to 1. Then we should actually be able to see what's going on a little bit better. Okay, yeah, so we can actually see where they're casting to now. We can actually see the position that they're going to cast. So that one's just gone straight through the wall. Just seen that. As we can also see him just going around everywhere. Although the other ones don't seem to be doing it for the moment. Although that one's just done it. Okay, so we need to try and figure out why these are still casting through the wall. Like you see that one just went straight through, and that one, and that one. So I think we need to change this up a little bit. And we'll do raycast here. There, and we'll add an out here. So out to hit. Should be able to, or just line cast only do a ball. Okay, line cast only does a ball, which is frustrating. Because we only want this to be working in that distance. So we can't output it for some reason. Or can we change it and put it there? Okay, there we go. So we can actually see it. So if we change that there then to just a normal line, and then we'll do if hit.collider does not equal null. So if there is a collider that it's hit, then it will return that. And let's just do that there. So basically what that is now saying is if there is actually a collider that is hit, then we can do that. And we can also change this to draw the line to hit dot collider or hit dot point. So we'll do this if there is a collider. And we'll do this one as red, I guess. Oh no, yeah, so we go magenta to red. So it'll turn red if it actually hits something and registers that it's hit something. Because then we'll know if this is actually working properly. I know the screen for coding might be a little bit small at the moment, but I just keep jumping back and forth. I think I'm going to keep it in a minute. But obviously let me know if you want to see the code bigger, and I can do that. So see, that one was magenta, that one was magenta, but they're still going through. Like, it doesn't look like... Right, let's put that underneath, because then it will only do one or the other, and I'm also going to change that to like 2 seconds, just so then it can actually hover about a little bit more. So we're either going to see magenta or red. The red is if it hits a wall, magenta is if there's nothing in its way. So we'll see what happens. Normally this is just a bit of a waiting game, although I can see that one's just gone straight through the wall. So why are you going straight through the wall? Because you should be... Yeah, we've got our box collider there. Layers, we can ignore that for the moment. I think I've just realised why, actually, because if we go to the enemy, we haven't even set the wall block. Oh, oh my days. Okay, well, hopefully that should be refined now and working properly. Oh, the amount of times I do that, man. Like, you set up a variable and then you just don't even set it. So yeah, here we go. Now we can actually see where it's going to hit the wall and then it resets. I don't know if you guys caught that. Hopefully we'll see it again here soon. There we go. So you see it's hit the wall, and then it's picked somewhere else to go to. There we go. So it actually only goes somewhere where it can actually see, and see that happening again down there. And there, and there. Oh, do you know what? It's so nice to actually see it work properly. That's for it to actually work exactly how you want it to. Okay, that's nice. That's nice. Okay, so we have basic movement, and now this is where it's going to get to the hard bit. So for the moment, they're just kind of idling around, but we're going to need to do a way for them to follow the player and aggro them. So there's 2 ways that I can think of at the moment. For starters, having a bit of a yawn. For starters, is when the player actually like gets in range of them. So when they just kind of see the player, which we're also gonna have to try and figure out how to do. Because I'd like it if it was actually how, like, based on the direction that they're actually looking. It's like, let's say you turn a corner, you see a zombie, but it's not looking at you, so you're able to just jump back, like behind the wall. Or if they get hit, you know, like if you shoot a zombie, expect it to come back at you, kind of thing. So let's go ahead and work on that. So I think first of all, let's do if you hit a zombie, because then we can actually see if it works. Like we can self trigger that. So if we go into the right in the enemy movement, let's make a ball of is aggro, or we do already have seek, but I guess we don't want to be idle. So yeah, let's actually just go straight into seek. Okay, so we'll use the same movement, but we won't use rest. So it'll just be constantly getting a position and then moving to it. I think that's probably going to be the best way to do it. And we're also going to want to find a location near the player. So let's go ahead and just copy these 2. And that hasn't copied because I didn't copy it properly. Go ahead and copy the entire switch. We'll get rid of the rest. So find location in range and go to location. So we want to keep that as it is. So what we want to change is the seek range. So we're going to add that up here as well. So let's just duplicate that. We'll do seek range. So this will be the range around the player. We'll do that, and we're gonna change this to false because we don't want to raycast. Like if the player's on the other side of the wall, then we actually want to go to that position. Although we don't want to go to that position if it's away from the player. So instead of doing the raycast in the find location in range, we're gonna do another raycast down here, to make sure that it's actually like there's nothing blocking that position to the player. Because let's say the player's on one side of the wall and we want them to follow round, like we don't want them to go back to the other side of the wall. Like we actually want them to stay near the player. So we'll do the raycast from the player instead of the enemy. So let's go ahead and get this code going. Apologies again, keeping on the Unity screen, but hopefully you have been following and seeing what I've done. I've just basically just copied the locate and move to down to seek, and we're going to go ahead and adding a raycast. So I'm just going to comment this for the moment. So raycast from player to check for walls. And actually, no, do you know what? Actually, fuck it. Let's just add that in now. So we're going to copy basically what we've done down here. So I'm going to keep that just there, and I might actually, yeah, I'm going to turn it into a variable. So private ball is position blocked from player. I think we'll have it like that, just because, yeah. And on location in range. I think actually let's just copy this whole thing. I think that might be better. So if we copy that there, then we do find location in range of player, and we'll do find location in random range, and then we'll go ahead and copy that to you, and we'll do in range of player there. Let's just swap those around because this one's being called first. Make it look a little bit more sleek. So finds random location within range of current position. Finds random location within range of player's position. Okay, let's just add these in just to highlight that. So this one does a current position, this one does a player's position. So what we're going to want to do here is we're going to change the center position, and we'll just have range. We're going to enable the array by default anyway. So we can just take all of this outside of that. Now we're going to want the player's position. Just make this look a little bit nicer. So yeah, we want this position to actually be the player's position. So we're going to need to get that. I think the best way to do that is going to be from, let's do the enemy tracking handler. So if we just have a variable in here, so public game object player, let's come out caps, player object. Let's actually make that a transform, because then we'll base it off the position instead. Player object transform. Just call that player transform. And then we're going to want to set that in the start. Let's just do start player transform equals Actually, no, because we can set that in the hierarchy. Let's go ahead and do that now. And I don't think I've actually added that to anything, that script. So let's go ahead and add that to the game manager. Uh, Center positions. He's still not liking that at the moment, so we'll just do that. Yeah, let's just comment out this whole thing for the moment. Because can't do that at the moment without adjusting this. Okay, so it's still not liking it. Let's just add that in, and we'll just do that from here then. So, and then we're gonna want the enemy tracking handler actually on here. So we'll do a private reference because we're gonna actually no, we can do serialize again. And then I can drag that in. Also saves then a find object of type. Add that in there. We'll just call it the enemy tracking handler. Then we can shorten these down quite nicely and make that a little bit nicer to look at. And then when we come down here, we can change that to the player transform dot position plus the random range, and then we will set the Y to our transform, and then we'll do exactly the same thing. So we're gonna do the new position, but we'll do it from the player's position instead. So if we go ahead and do that there, do you there and you there, because right, let's actually make this into its own vector. So player pos equals that. I don't like how big these lines are looking now. Kind of clunks it out a little bit. Add that in there and add that in there. So we're basically going to be keeping to doing the exact same thing, but instead of testing from the enemy position to the new position, we're going to test from the player's position to the new position to then see if there's anything in the way. So if there's a wall between the player and where the enemy wants to go, it's going to find somewhere else to go instead that's actually near the player. Because of course it's aggro, so it's going to be going after the player. We don't want it to go off and do some random walk or whatever. Because then later we actually possibly, I don't know if this is something I want to add in. I don't know how well it would work with the gameplay, but we're gonna see about adding in. I'm just using range there. Adding it in so then like the player can kind of get away from the zombies, if that makes sense. Like if they're out of range and the zombie can't see them, we'll kind of make the zombie go back to idle. But we'll see how that goes. That's kind of later down the line anyway. So looking at this right now, it should just keep going into a loop. So we have everything all set. We need to set the ah, that's why I didn't want that there. So we're actually going to set the enemy tracker on the start. So enemy tracking handler equals find object of type enemy tracking handler. So we're going to set that there. Then we can set the player transform. Let's go ahead and switch screens. Okay, and then yeah, we should see enemies in scene populate. So let's go ahead and see that. It does not. Okay, so why not? If does not contain this, add this. Enemy tracking handler dot enemies in scene contains right. Do I have down anything else then? That on yeah, that's on the enemies. So we'll remove that and we'll keep it on the game manager. Just because that makes it a little bit a bit more Should we make it an AI manager? And then we'll drag down to there. Just because it makes it a little bit more understandable, I guess. Like the enemy, game world, player base, like, they're more category objects than actual objects. If I keep it on there, then it'll actually just make more sense. I'm just gonna put a space there. I don't like putting spaces, but makes it more readable. So we got our player object, enemies and scenes. So we go ahead and press play now. That should all populate. And it does, perfect. So if I go into you and change you to seek, find where are you? So you're over here. Value cannot be null. That's fine. So seeking, we should just be finding a player. Right, but we're in rest, so we need to add that into seek. If movement state equals rest, movement state. So we've got our move state down here to rest as well, so we're also going to need to change that. We'll change that to locate. So if the path is invalid or we've reached our destination, then we're just going to locate. It'll just constantly be moving. So let's see what happens there. You should automatically go to move to, and as we can see, it's going to the player. But we have our seek range. Okay, so 5 was quite large. So let's make that like 3. Actually, we're gonna need a max and minimum. So seek range. We'll do a min seek range and a max seek range. We don't want them to go straight up to the player, but we do want them to stay within a range of the player. So we'll do min seek range, max seek range. And we'll also do that down here. So min range, and a max range. Then we'll also, at the end, we'll also just test to see if that's within range of the player. Actually, no, because we can do. So this is where it's going to get using. So yeah, we'll just do max range, max range, max range. And then we'll do if and then we'll do it here because it's going to be based off the player position. So if vector 3 dot distance, the new pos to the player pos is is more than the min range, then we'll go ahead and do this. If it's not, then we'll return vector 3.0 because we don't we want it to be more than the minimum range, but we want it to be less than the maximum range. The maximum is being set up here, the min is being set here. I know you guys can't see this very well because it's small, and I apologise for that. Hopefully I can get something like automatic for when I switch windows. But yeah, let me just make that big just so then you can actually see it and it makes sense. We've got our maximum range, we've got our minimum range. If it's less than the minimum range, then it's going to return 0. If it's more than the minimum range, then we're going to go ahead and get that position. Let's just go up here. We'll add those in. So min seek range and max seek range. So we'll change that as well. So we'll do the minimum is like 2, the maximum is 4, I guess. And we'll see how that plays. Of course, the minimum is working on vector distance, and then the 4 is working on actual unity units. So it's going to be a little bit tricky to try and get these right. But we'll see what happens. Obviously, we can play around with this. So if I go to seek, we'll go to move to. For some reason, you seem to be going all the way up there. Okay, you're going to vector 0. So let's just go back into this. So target position does not equal vector 0. Then we're going to move to else it will loop. It should just be looping instead of going to 0. Let's actually make that public so then we can see where exactly that we go into. BRB. Right, yeah, let's get a way to visualize where we're actually going to. Actually, no, we don't need it because it does it on here anyway. So let's just go back in. This just keeps locating. So let's turn that down to 1 maybe. Right, so this just keeps going, looping in the locate for some reason. Let's put another one onto locate and see what that does. Oh no, seek even. That's going straight into 0, 0 for some reason. So let's just have a look at that again. We've got our maximum ranges. So if the new position vector 3 dot distance new position player pos is more than the minimum range, then we'll go ahead and turn the new pos after the raycast. If it's less than the minimum range, we'll return vector 0. So it seems to just be returning vector 0, and I think it's an issue with this distance. So let's go ahead and change our distance to 0 and see what happens. Seems to be trying to do something in terms of direction. I think we need to add obstacles on these. Obstacle box capture. Let's go to this. So do the capture and then we'll up that by 1. Then that's in the shape. We'll go ahead and apply that. Agent and obstacle. This can lead to errors. Right, okay, so we don't want that then. So for some reason, they're walking into each other, I think. I'm not entirely sure about that. I may actually be wrong. So, right, let's try and just play that again. It might be an error in trying to do stuff while it's playing. Got a game up there as well. Right, so if we set you to seek. Okay, so you're still going up there. Do we have, yeah, we have the player object on there. Player pos equals enemy track player transformation dot position. And then the new position equals the player position plus maximum range. If vector 3 distance, new position, player position is more than minimum range, then we'll go ahead and we'll do this to the new position. But then we don't seem to, okay, so we don't seem to be doing this, the raycasting from the player. So if I go back, press play, let's see if there's any rays actually coming from the player, because then we'll know whether or not that bit of code is being used. Because it doesn't look like it. let's go ahead and put you onto seek. So it just seems to be going straight to 0, 0. So target position, find location in random range. If target right, so let's add that in here, and we'll do that on the other one as well actually. If target position does not equal vector 0, then we'll set it, because I think this is the problem, is it's being set and it's moving, but it's staying in locate, if that makes sense. Or actually down here, but it's still the same thing. So we'll just go ahead and do that here. Because we only want it to actually move when it's got a position to go to that isn't 0. And we will move the map accordingly at some point, because obviously 0 is the middle of the map, but we'll change that. So if I go ahead and press play, and then go to seek, we should then see it trying to go to the player. So it seems to be staying in locate now. So locate target position equals find location in range of player. Min seek range, max seek range. So it's just returning 0. If vector 3 dot distance, new position, player pos is more than the minimum range, then we'll do this. We'll check for collision and then we'll go there. Why doesn't this seem to be working? Or do we want to check for collision first? So yeah, let's check for collision first and then we'll do this. So if I do that there. And actually, yeah, we do want to keep that as it is. So let's do that. So if the position is less than, let's just separate these a little bit. So we'll do raycast there. If the new position to the player position is more than minimum range, return a new position, else return 0. And then it does a raycasting as well. And it should then just go straight through. Okay, and there we go. So we've got it going towards a player. So right now it's just hovering around the player. And then we take a hit because it actually goes through you. And again we take a hit because it goes through you again. Okay, that is perfect. Although that is not what we want. It's just gone around the wall. So we'll just go back in and make sure that is as it is. Point layer pause to new pause. Wall block layer still. There is a collider, will return 0. Okay, I mean it looks like it's gonna work. I think that was just an issue, possibly. Because you'll see that it is actually going towards the player and it's just keeping in range. So right now that's at 0, so let's set that to like 2 again. I'll just switch over so then you can actually see this in big screen. So we're taking a hit. Although right now, I don't know why you're still. I don't want you to play. Just okay. You're gonna play anyway. Okay, it's fine. So I don't know what this guy's doing. So let's just go ahead and restart that. It just seems to be sliding on the wall. So go ahead and do that again. We'll set him to seek. And we should see him come down. Nope, he's just staying there again. If we set that to 0, then he actually moves to... Okay, so this is where it's going to get tricky, because we need to play around with this a little bit. But it's actually not... Wait, hold up. I've just got a notification. BRB, let me check. Hello, hello. So that break took longer than what I thought it would, but for good reason. So results came in from uni. There was a group game that we was working on, and we've only gone and smashed it straight out of the park, all straight A's. Oh, mate, honestly, innit? Like such a good team to work with. The game itself, all pulled through. Oh, no, what? I'm so gassed. Honestly, so gassed. But I've been gone for like 40 minutes, if not longer. um, but yeah, oh, so gassed, so gassed. There's nothing better than getting good results. Not yeah. Right. Anyway, where were we? I've just completely lost myself now. Right. Let's just recompose, figure out where we're at, what we're doing. Right, the seek range. Okay, yep. We were getting this to work. Right, so let's have a look. I think we were okay with that. I think. That one seems to be broken, but we'll try that again. So let's go ahead and check this out. So if we click on one and we tell it to seek, it should... Right, so it's locating the player. I think we need to turn this down to 1. No, or 0. Right, so 0, it goes straight to the player. So, but we don't want it to be like right next to the player. So let's go 0.2 and see how that works. This will continuously move it. Okay. So you are locating just there. It's not really working. Let's go to 0. And it is. It is. Okay, so it's working, but for some reason it's just doesn't want to. Okay, so now that's like right on the player, but we don't want this right on the player. So let's. I feel like 4 is good enough for keeping in distance of the player, but we don't want it to be. Hmm. So yeah, so we're finding a position around the player, and it is working. It seems to actually be walking around and stuff like that. And it's hitting the player whenever it's going through, which is perfect because that's kind of how we want it to happen. Um, it is a bit jittery, so we might change that to a fixed update. So let's go into here. We'll turn this into a fixed update. Oh, just hit the mic. Get out of the way. Actually, let me try and sort this mic out a bit. There we go. That should hopefully be a bit better. Stops me from smacking it anyway. Right, fixed. Update, and we'll save that. So then if we come back in, hopefully that jittering shouldn't be so bad. And it might actually fix some of the issues that we're having, to be honest. Because fixed update only runs like 50 frames a second or something like that. Right. So let's keep you on 2 and we'll go to seek. So you're still not going to the player. Now, I want to know why this is. Because it doesn't seem to like it at all. So it's frustrating really because if only we can have it in the random range, like kind of like an offset in the middle. But I feel like that would be a little bit too difficult to not not difficult, but almost too much work to try and get done. I feel like this is working, but we just need to work on this minimum range because the problem is that for some reason vector distance kind of outputs differently from the actual distance, if that makes sense. Like if you see the cube, so that's supposed to be one, that's supposed to be like two. But vector distance doesn't really work like that. It seems to be a lot different. So on our max, we're using this, so the one, the two, but the vector distance isn't. So we're gonna need to play around with that. So let's go to 0.5. No, that doesn't seem to work. 0.2. Okay, 0.2 is working. So I think we're just gonna have a little play around with this now. And unfortunately we're just gonna kind of have to see what happens. Um this is kind of one of those things where it's literally just test and repeat. Okay, so 0.2 seems to be working. We're not quite hitting the player as much. We might need to extend the max. So we just hit the player there, which is quite good, and we can see our health is going down. Let's see where he wants to go to next. Although right now he seems to be like on a little bug, like he can't get to that last position. So, right, if this remaining distance is less than 1, so let's change that to 0.5. Because don't forget, this is finding the player, so we are expecting them to kind of be zipping around quite quickly. So let's see how that works. And of course, we're still in control of the player, even though I don't want to. Oh, there we go. So if I change that to 0.1, I'll just go with move to. Seems to just be output in the same position. Um, Path invalid. We go to locate, and then it just makes a new target. So maybe. Right, actually, let's just restart that. I hope that that was a bug. Right, so let's go ahead and make him seek again. He should start. Oh, actually, no, because we need to change this as well. So let's do 0.15. Actually, we'll do 0.25, and we'll see what happens with that. So if we just add that to all of them. And then we make that one seek. We should see it. Locate a position. Let's go in. So fixed update might actually be an issue for trying to find a new position. So we might need to. Right, there we go. Look, see, so 0.25. That's like right next to it. So I'm wondering if the issue is actually on how often it's trying to get a location. So we could do a bool lock on that and run it in its own update. So if we do private bool find location. So for idle, it's okay. We can leave that as it is. And if we go into an update function and do if find location, we'll do that. And then once it finds somewhere, so if we do this here. So target position equals find location and range of player. Find location near player. We'll just name that a little bit more accurately so then we know what's going on. And then if the target position does not equal vector 30, then we'll just turn that off. So this is going to go through every single frame and try and find a location. And that should be a lot smoother because then we've got the position setting and the destination on fixed update, but we're actually trying to find the location on update, which should run a lot quicker in just trying to find a more accurate location. Because I feel like a lot of this is just lag. So if target position does not equal, right, so if we turn that off, locate, and if we in move to, when we go back to locate, actually let's use rest. So if we use rest in here, so if I go case, rest, then add a break. So what we use rest for in here is then just to set that to true. So equals true. And then we'll go to locate state. Equals locate. Because then what we can do is we can just set these to rest. So if target position does not equal vector 30, then we'll do that. Else, if it does equal vector 30, we'll go to rest. Yeah, actually, find location near player equals true up here. If or we this is where it's gonna become tricky because I'm trying to do a loop, but without breaking it. So find location near player equals true is right. So let's make a quick little function. Private void wait for location near player, and then we'll just add that in here. So find location near player equals true, and then movement state goes to rest, because then we can replace that there and there, and then in rest we can just do if that's false. So once we've found a location, we'll go into locate. So once we found a location, we go up here. So if target position, okay, so that's only going to go through if it's not a vector 0. So we can then just take this straight out, and we can go to locate, find location in range, or set destination in this one. We'll do locate, and then move to, go to location. Let's just put that up there. Else. So if it's invalid, it's just gonna strip it straight away and go to locate. We can leave the rest up here exactly how it is, and the locate, because we don't need to mess around with these. It's just in the seeking. And let's actually just add a little annotation up here. So hover within range of spawn position, and hover within range of player, and we'll also add the stars in there. just to highlight the differences. Okay, set destination, go to location. Add in here 3. Wait for location. Set destination, go to location, wait for location. Okay. And then that should be a lot smoother on that. So basically what that's going to do is when it goes to the location, we'll do all that, but then we need it to go to rest. So we need to, we need to get rid of this. If, so then up here, what we do is we'll do if target position equals vector 30, movement state equals rest. Actually, no, we'll do wait for location near player. Because then that will set everything that we need to. So we'll set that to true and set that to rest. And then we'll do an else here. So if it does not equal, so if we have a target position, then we'll go there, we'll set it and then we'll go. And then we'll go there. If we get there or the path is invalid, we'll reset, wait for location near player. We'll set this gate to true. Then it can cycle through trying to find the location. Once it's found a location, we'll set it to false. And once that's false, we'll go to locate. Okay. I feel like this should work a lot smoother. And actually be a lot better. So let's see how that works then. So let's go over to seek. So we're in rest, we're waiting for a location. And it's not doing it right now, so let's just set that down to 0. So we found a location and we're going to go there. Okay, so this is where it's going to get tricky now. Let's set that to 0.15 and see how that handles it. We're in rest, we're waiting for a location. Now this should be a lot more simple to try and find a location, but it seems to be struggling a little bit. Let's try 0.1. 0.08, maybe. Let's actually have it, so whenever it's resting, let's have it print its distance. So print vector 3 dot distance transform dot position. No, what is it? What is it? It's the tracking handler. Tracking handler dot player transform dot position. So we're just gonna print that out. And yeah, that should work because they'll be on the same wire. So you see, we're actually quite high at the moment. So this is like 9. And if I move you to like there, so that's like 1. So this should be working. If I put that to like 2. So if we actually keep that at 2, it shouldn't be an issue. I'm wondering if maybe the max is an issue. Or if it's just... Right, so yeah, we're at like 38 right now. Let's actually have it print out the distance down here instead. So draw a line, all this and that. So let's actually have it print this. Just and then we can actually see what sort of distance we're actually getting on average. So 0.33. But then we by the looks of it, we're literally just getting one location. So is this not find location in range of player? But it seems to be the exact same position over and over. So what is that? Find location in range of player. Minimum distance, maximum distance. Min range, max range. Nowhere else we use min range, is there? No. Um. Okay. So this doesn't seem to be making much sense for some reason. It's because this distance should be changing between a new position. Right, so new position equals player position plus equals vector 3 of a random range in the X and Z. So this should be moving around the player. It shouldn't be keeping at the exact same distance. Let's go ahead and just reset that. Because for some reason it seems to be like just trying to get the exact same place. There we go. This is what I was looking for. Okay, so let's times that by 10 and see what we get on the output there. We might have to times it by 100. Okay. Oh, and we haven't actually done it, have we? So let's do. Okay, actually, let's do this. Float distance equals. Let me just do that here. Because then we can just print the distance and use the distance and then just change one thing. And we'll change both. So yeah, let's times that by 10 and see what sort of output we're looking at now. Okay, so 0.3 is better, I guess. But I don't like the fact that it's still looking like the same number. Like I feel like there should be a bit more variant to it. So let's just right, we're gonna make that times 50. I don't want 100. I want it to be half of that, if that makes sense. So like, I don't want it to be 3, I want it to be 1.5. Because this looks like it's a little bit more easier to manage. So if I now put that to 1, that should now go to the player. And then we'll see what sort of a distance that's going to do. And if I actually just come out there we go. Okay, so this looks like it's actually working a lot better. It's actually like running around the player. Looks like the distance is keeping around this. So if I up this now to, let's say 6, we should see these distances going higher. Okay, and we're taking... Right, so the issue seems to be that when we collide with the player, like if I push you, you just seem to be sliding and then you just go wherever. Right, so they need some mass. So let's give them like 50 mass. And we'll do the same for the player. So then they can actually have some sort of mass so they don't get pushed as easily, hopefully. Let's go ahead and make you seek. I need to change minimum to 1. Put the max to 5. Just to see what happens. Okay, so let's set you to seek. So now you're going to come down to the player. And it looks like it's all working fine. It just looks like there's an issue when they actually like hit the player or try and go around. Like that seemed to be okay. Okay, so maybe we fixed it with the weights. They seem to kind of be walking around a bit. But then you see like it's kind of hitting the player, so I'm not sure I want this to happen. Right, so there seems to be some issue when it actually gets there as well. So we'll try stopping distance to 1. Angular speed, acceleration, we'll put that to 12. Auto braking off, because we don't really want them to slow down, we just want them to stop. So let's change that. 12, no, not 23. 12, 1, and auto braking off. Let's turn that up for all of them and then see what happens. Let's go ahead and set you to seek. So right now it's moving. We can also see with these guys as well, they're kind of just going there and stopping, which is much better. This guy seems to just be going straight there. It'd be nice to have it work a little bit smoother. We could. Right, so that is. I think it's because it's out of range, if that makes it. Like, this kind of looks like it's just on the border, and I think that's what it's struggling with. So let's try and make that border a little bit smaller. And I think that's in the navigation. So if I go nav mesh, radius as 0.2. And then we go on to this and bake it. Oh, I don't know what that's doing, but that looks like it might have fixed it. Like there's a less gap on the edge. Humanoid, walkable, yeah, leave that as is. Let's go ahead and play that again. And then we'll actually get rid of that nav mesh. Just then it's not there. So let's see what this guy does. If we go back to seek. Oh, right. So this distance is like 2. Okay, so the distance has changed now. But it's also just resting, not finding somewhere that it can go to. So it doesn't seem to be getting a position. So let's change that to back to 4. Seems to be doing this one a lot more, like 3. Um, let's try and move you. So it seems to be sort of setting itself over there. So let's try and just do that again and see what happens. It might have just been like a one-off. Let's just go straight to seek. Go to location. It's got a location to go to. But it just doesn't seem to want to go there. Okay. So we'll go back to navigation, put that to 0.5. And we'll bake that as well. Now that seems to be fine. So I wonder if it has an issue with this. So if we go like 0.4 and bake it. Okay, yeah, that seems to be okay. Doesn't seem to be like bugging out like it was. And that's actually much closer to the edge, and then we can just make this smaller if we need to. Although, how is that working under here? You see, it looks like it thinks it can go through that. So do I need to add an obstacle to the walls? So if I go onto them, and we'll add nav mesh obstacle, do that as a box, then bake the nav mesh. Include layers. We include that. How does that work? Okay, so we're not going to include that. Okay, so I mean, like it's kind of right carve. Okay, okay. So yeah, so we want this to carve then. So then it actually carves out of the wall or the walk space. Right, okay. So this was an issue that we had. So then if I go back to the navigation and make you like point two. I think it was actually trying to go through the wall. I go to bake. Right, there we go. So that's point two on the wall. Let's go point three. It seemed to be bugging a little bit. Then we'll bake. So it looks like that's a little bit better. If we go and hit play. It seems to just be trying to get the nav mesh and everything else working together. Say, look like they're all moving around properly. If I come to this guy and make him seek. Okay, so he's actually found a position. Let's get rid of the nav mesh. But then he's getting close to the wall now. Okay, okay. So we're getting there, we're getting there. Right, so you see so this is an issue. So what if we make the stopping distance like 2? No, 3. Let's make you 2 by default. Just and then it doesn't like actually stop where it gets to, but like it can stop like wherever. And we go into navigation and make you 0.4 instead. And we'll bake the ground nav mesh. That's not bugging, is it? No. Good. Right, so let's try that again then. Goes to seek. Although none of them seem to want to be walking. None of them are walking. Okay. Try that again. Not sure why it would start doing that. Yeah, I'm walking around, right? Yep. Good. Go to seek. For some reason it's in move 2. Okay, so we're gonna need to adjust that as well. So if we're in move 2, and we'll just add that there as well. We'll do else. And then we'll start that up again. Okay. And then let's make him seek. That seems to break all of them, and I don't know why. Right, let's go back to that nav and make you 0.3 because it was happy with that. And then we'll bake again. Make sure it's on this. Right, hold on, bear with. Right, and it seems to have broken again. So, right, seems to be an issue with the testing. So let's just try and get that fixed. So they move around, then the timer goes up while they're resting. And then it does move again. And then it stops moving. Okay, so go into this up here, timer. Oh, the timer is reset there. Okay, so I think we need to set the target position to 0 equals 0, and then we go back to locate. Just by the looks of it, that seems to be the issue. Although it's going to 0 here, but we can get rid of that and just do that in the wait for wait location. So it is resetting, and then we go up to here. Path is invalid. We go back to locate. I don't actually think we need that in there, to be honest. So if we keep it like that, and then see what happened, like so. I think we're probably gonna cut it off soon because I think I've been doing this for like 3 hours. Do a bit of a break. Okay, so we're all moving once, and then just nothing happens. Right, okay. Well, I think we're gonna leave it there. We've got most of the way that we want to today, or that I wanted to do today. It is frustrating that the AI has kind of stopped working a bit, but hopefully it should be a simple fix. It doesn't seem like it would actually be a lot to try and sort out. Everything else seems to be working, so we should be able to get there soon. So I'm gonna head off now, but when I come back, I don't know when I'll stream. I might stream again tomorrow. Do some more work. We will be looking at getting the AI finished up, so it will actually attack the player, as well as getting this kind of hover mode working as well. And then we'll be looking to make them actually attack the player. So then they actually go in and attack. Because we've got everything else that we need at the moment. Like the player can move around and shoot. Damage is being dealt between them. And then yeah, hopefully once we get that done, we can start making different variants of the zombies, and then we can start getting some models in. And then doing some kind of level design as well. And then we can also look at stuff like power-ups, like health buffs, or weapons that you can pick up and stuff like that. So yeah, so we'll have a look when we come back and see where we can go from there. It's been a pleasure, guys. It's managed to get quite a bit done today, although it has broken at the end. We've made quite a bit of progress on the AI. And yeah, so if you want to see more, make sure you hit subscribe, ding dong notification bell, and drop any suggestions down in the comments below. For now, my name's Jordan. I design games, and I'll catch you in the next one. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you for jumping in. Peace.